All right, somebody talk real quick so I can see if it's picking up. It is not. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Now we've got
Hello.
Discord and microphone. All right. Before we go live here, I'm not going to include this in the final edited version. But chat, I just want to let you know it is perfectly fine to criticize a video game, but we're going to have a one-strike policy with personal attacks against developers. Please don't go speculating about developers being lazy or incompetent or evil. We are going to talk about the rough launch of Leviathan, but keep your criticism focused on the patch, the DLC, and the game itself. No personal attacks. Moderators are in weapons-free mode to hand out bans for stuff like that. So yeah,
is there like
keep it chill.
Is there a way of like pinning a message on Twitch that somebody like say if somebody late joins, can I see that?
I don't know if you can pin messages on Twitch chat. So I don't know.
You say none of the devs are evil, but I
No,
think to work on the world in darkness, it is actually contractually obliged to be, some form of on the evil side of the alignment chart.
You have to.
Pretty sure that's in the contract.
Be on your resume somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just keep it civil, right?
Keep it
civil, keep it non-toxic. Yeah.
All four of us are moderators. We also have Gagao in chat with his sword, and he is a moderator on the PDX forum. So
yes,
he knows what to look out
the
for.
lawless lands of
today.
the PDX forums. Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Welcome to NoCB, a grand strategy podcast. This is for the week of the 28th of April, 2021. I am your host, Liana, and we are here with our really, really cool panel, including Rose.
Well, that's a lie.
Hello. Hey. Hey.
And including Lambert.
The man with no stairs.
Hi.
And our token non-cool panel member, Father Loris.
Oh wow! Oh my goodness! The tables have turned upon me now.
So you're the one that started throwing the shade.
Oh, that's it. I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
You can't take it. Don't make it.
Yeah. I want to throw rocks. I can't believe I've been throwing these rocks in my glass house and it's been breaking things. It's terrible.
I mean, your glass house has no stairs. So
it did before he started. Throwing stones around. Exactly. Yeah. We got a lot of news today, so we're going to try to go through it fairly quickly. But we're going to start out with Humankind, who have officially announced a new culture, and then also unofficially we have some other information about that. But yeah, they've announced Brazil. As an agrarian civ for the contemporary era.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And we also have the news that OpenDev started last Thursday, the day after we were live.
Right. Yeah. What is the?
It's running until May 3rd.
What is the code name of this?
Victor.
Victor. That's what it is.
I'm pretty sure it's still the 4th, is it not?
It might be different depending on what time zone you're in. Yeah. So Brazil, they get jungle brigades and they get an agronomy lab. It's very interesting to see the different philosophy between how Firaxis does this and how Humankind does this. Just in terms, like amplitude, picking the emblematic things for a culture. It seems like civilization usually goes with pretty obvious ones, and Humankind has pulled some that like just made me scratch my chin a little bit. Like Brazil is famous for jungle warfare. I mean, they have the Amazon rainforest, but like I don't think they've ever actually fought a war in the Amazon rainforest.
It might be they're trying to do things for balance reasons. They're choosing game over history, which I can't quite disagree with.
Yeah, no, I like it too, because like say if you're starting in it, but if you have an area that's got a lot of jungle, kind of makes sense to go with this sort of...
You'd want to be Brazilian.
Yeah. Kind of cool. I like that. And the same with the Egyptians, right? You get stuff for deserts. Makes sense.
Right.
It's weird. But then again, I don't know enough about Brazil during the contemporary era to say what they would be good at as having a an emblematic.
I know there's a meme right now about being banished to Brazil.
I mean, what is Brazil? I mean, yeah, but also what Brazil's known for is maybe not flattery, favelas and wildcat vlogging. Good football, I guess. Yeah, good fun. Yeah, stadiums.
Contemporary era. Shouldn't their emblematic district be like a football pitch? Perhaps.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, I can
during this era, that is when they dominated football.
Yeah,
that's. I think the Americans call that something, but we don't care about what you call it. It's football.
Yeah,
but don't they make a lot of food in Brazil?
Yeah, no, I think the district makes sense.
That's what they do.
Yeah,
they're famous for chopping down the Amazon to make more of it.
Yeah,
that's a very problematic thing, and not a good thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that's too controversial.
Yeah,
we won't be cancelled for saying cutting down the rainforest sucks.
Yeah. Although based on how they represented Australia, you would expect their emblematic district for Brazil to just be like the slash and burn agriculture plantation.
I mean, there is already a deforestation option in Humankind.
Yeah.
Maybe the Brazilian emblematic thing
you can deforest.
Do it for free. We get more out of it.
More trivia from Gagao in chat. They apparently have a strong jungle warfare system. Troops in French Guiana learn jungle fighting and survival with Brazilian troops.
I did not. I mean, I know basically nothing about Brazil's military, so
same.
Interesting.
One of my mods is from Brazil, but I don't think I've ever talked about military with him.
Nice.
I don't think I know anything about Brazil, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who just recently went to do graduate study in Brazil that involved, like, molecular genetics or something like that. So, in that sense, the agronomy lab seems very appropriate to me. But,
yeah, that's basically what I did, actually.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So...
Do you know what's possibly not appropriate, though?
What?
The fact that all the contemporary civs have been leaked, it looks like.
It seems like it. I could say that these none of these have been confirmed by the developer, but this seems legit. Because it was pulled from the game files, wasn't it?
I think so. Someone shared it in my chat when I was streaming Humankind last Thursday. They shared the link to the Reddit.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's got the ones that they have already announced on there, including Brazil, which was not announced when this leak happened. Australia, USA, Sweden, and then or not, Sweden wasn't announced yet. Who am I talking about? What was China had been kind of soft announced, in that they had talked about it before, as that there would be a modern China represented. But yeah, the ones we didn't know about yet, I think, are Egypt, India, Japan, Sweden, Turkey, and the USSR.
Which we all kind of figured the USSR would be there. I think of us guessed that one.
I think the big five of like USA, USSR, Brazil, China, and India. I think we all guessed those five. Those were the five that I considered to be like, I'll eat my hat if these are not in there.
I put Turkey in that category as well, to be honest.
Did you have Turkey on your list as well?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got 7 out of 10. I did not guess Egypt. I did not guess Turkey, and I don't think anyone guessed Sweden.
No one did.
Yeah.
If this was a Paradox game, I would have guessed it.
Yeah.
The Amplitude game.
I have no idea what I picked. I honestly have no clue.
Besides the EU.
Yeah.
I picked the EU, but that's literally it. We probably should have pinned our guesses, shouldn't we?
I have mine. The ones that I guessed that were incorrect were, I guessed that it was just going to be called Arabians. It wasn't going to be any specific Arab country. So that one was wrong. I guessed Ethiopia, and I guessed Canada, which in retrospect should have been Indonesia. I'm actually pretty surprised to not see Indonesia or some other Southeast Asian nation on here for.
And very little in Africa, other than, of course, Egypt.
Yeah. No, I did.
No sub-Saharan.
I think Leanna's been playing too much Imperator because she looked at this originally and was like, "Oh, there's nothing in Africa." Oh wait, Egypt's not Greek; they're African.
No,
during Imperator's time period, the northern Mediterranean was seen as Europe.
Yeah,
it was south of the Sahara that was seen as the different continent.
Yeah, culturally and linguistically, and even to some degree socioeconomically, I think what is like referred to as the Middle East North Africa region has more in common than North Africa does with sub-Saharan Africa. Obviously, it's not black and white. Like, there are things North Africa has in common with the rest of Africa that it doesn't have with Asia.
It becomes a bit more.
Are they European, Middle Eastern?
Well,
what is Europe as a
true. Where does Europe end and Asia start?
Is as a continent? I mean, the simple fact is, continent does not have a definition. It does not have a solid definition. Like different in Europe, we're taught that there's 7. Aren't you taught that there's either 6 or 8 in the States? Either way, it's different because it doesn't have a scientific definition, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah,
and the way that like people and cultures work is by communicating and trading with one another, and you can trade very much easier over the Mediterranean Sea than you can through the Sahara Desert. So I would say that Egypt, especially in Imperator times, because that's where I'm most competent with, it had so much more in common with like the north of it than the south of it.
Which makes sense.
We do have Black Ninja in chat explaining why they picked Sweden. It's because Amplitude are PDX fanboys and Paradox are Amplitude fanboys. So
my
everything.
My theory there is that if they had picked one of like the 3 or 4 biggest obvious ones, like France, UK, Germany, they would have annoyed the other big obvious ones. And by picking Sweden, it's like slightly offensive to everybody, but really not offensive to anybody except maybe the Danes. So it was a diplomatic
banana pizza, and they'll forget it.
Yeah, it was a diplomatic pick, and then we'll have an expansion that adds like a bunch more modern European countries at once, so it doesn't seem like they're picking one over the others. So
we were talking about Egypt. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a school bus. It's a noisy school bus.
Lambert and Rose, you've both had a chance to play some of the Victor OpenDev at this point, right?
Yes.
I've done 2 full runs.
Oh, wow.
As have I.
What do you think of it so far?
I think it's great.
Yeah?
Ditto.
I do not like Civilization. I really don't. I've never enjoyed it since I found Paradox Games. But I really enjoy Humankind. It avoids the pitfall that Civ has for me, which is I am playing as Abraham Lincoln talking to Julius Caesar about a trade deal for nuclear weapons. It completely rips me out of any kind of immersion or experience I'm having. Yeah. I hate it. Humankind avoids that pitfall, which is great.
I've got hundreds of hours in Civ 3 and Civ 4, at least 300 Civ 4. I don't know. Most of it was pre-Steam. I've spent over 600 in Civ 5, about 400 in Civ 6, and I haven't touched any of them in like 2 years, but I cannot stop playing Humankind.
Yeah.
It's fresh.
Yeah.
It's like when we looked at the difference, Civ 5, I know a lot of people did not like the fact that it stopped doing the Doom stacks.
Yeah.
That actually, Civ 5 was when I started liking combat in the Civ games.
I agree. I don't like Doom stacking.
What is there to like in Civ combat, though?
Well,
I mean...
Okay. Lambert.
I mean, no, honestly, it's like less engaging chess. Chess combat.
Well, it's chess with heavy artillery. Artillery makes everything better.
I mean, that is true. Artillery is good.
No, I mean,
artillery in Humankind is amazing. Did you get to use those trebuchets? Oh, so nice.
Yeah, but so Civ 5 changed a lot from Civ 4, and Civ 6 added districts, which is cool.
I did like the districts in Civ 6.
But
I will say
everything
that.
else they added or changed was either meh or terrible, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked about this in the article I recently did about what I would want from Civ 7, which is I like the idea of districts. I don't like that when I look at the map, it just looks like there's like a giant carnival that's like as big as a city.
Yeah.
Just
Yep,
like sitting on the map.
Style.
Yeah, like I want
I
to
would
be
like districts if they look nice.
Yeah,
They don't.
and-
They look terrible.
and extensions in Humankind, because of the scale of the buildings, they look a lot more naturalistic.
I tell you what, I just
Districts
realized
now in Humankind, though, if you look, they
Yeah.
weren't called
Yeah.
they were called something else previously, but they're called districts now.
Oh, are they called districts now? Okay.
Yeah.
They were called extensions previously. I think.
Extensions,
Yep, which I still kept calling them districts in my videos.
Yeah, yeah.
I one thing as well for the Humankind districts is they are so much more important than they are at first glance.
Yep.
Because if you are defending in your siege, you have to make sure that you have built your city correctly. Because if you maybe don't think about it and you have your city end right at the base of a hill, you're an idiot, and you should fix that ASAP.
Yes.
City placement is everything. It's amazing. I love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And I tell you what, it's beautiful. That's the other thing. Like,
Oh, it looks
Yeah.
fantastic.
It looks
Putting a
absolutely
wonder on a
gorgeous.
cliff.
and culturally unique, depending on which culture you're picking too, which I think is something that Civ has been dropping, and I hate it. Like Civ maybe didn't have it to begin with in a lot of games, but like, you know, when you're playing Egypt, your city looks Egyptian, and when you're playing, you know, Celtic,
Well,
shit,
and
city
what's
looks Celtic.
cool
It's gorgeous.
as well,
Lovely.
if you found a city when you're like the Babylonians, you get the Babylonian pyramid in the center.
Yeah.
But then if you become the like the English later on and you form a city, it looks like a medieval English city in the center. And it
Mhm.
just keeps that forever, which I think is really neat. Though there are some bugs with the Victor patch or the Victor patch, Victor OpenDev. It's not a patch.
It's
Yeah.
still it's technically
Yeah.
still early access.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
right.
So if you're watching someone play it or you're playing it yourself, I know several people, including myself and Bo Cohen, have had issues with our GPU overheating.
And
Oh, no.
mine, it actually froze my entire PC.
Yes,
I needed to hold my power button to turn it off and on again.
I've had
Didn't
that happen
after
3
that, though.
times, and I kept lowering the visual settings, and it just
Oh, I just didn't lower anything. I just kept going.
Well,
Brute force. It will work. I damn right sure it's gonna work this time. But yeah, I didn't have any issues after the first time. I didn't change anything either.
well, I'm glad that they're catching this before release. Apropos
Yes.
of nothing else that happened this week. But before we get to that, we do
there's
also
an anniversary.
there is.
Speaking of Egypt,
Yeah,
Kind
we were
of.
talking Egypt earlier. and
Yeah,
then
like we got
but
Egypt,
here-
and then we got Egypt. We got Egyptian Britain. How do you feel about that, Lambert and Loris?
I don't feel. I feel a bit worse about Asterix and Obelix being there for some reason. I don't know why they're there.
I didn't notice that until just now. Yeah.
But
I feel a bit weird about Doggerland being a sort of thing now. What's going on there?
I'm not
What's that
sure
about?
what that's all about.
They said. I
Well,
think
they
they. Yeah.
They said we don't remains unanswered, which makes me wonder, like, were they planning to like start the game earlier?
Well, no, because Doggerland went under the sea ages
Yeah,
and
I
ages
don't
and ages
know.
ago.
Or
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
Was that
they.
just-
Maybe they were originally tracing a map that was a much older map, and then they
Yeah.
had
But
to
maybe-
refine it. Yeah.
Maybe that's just to like make it graphically look like show what the Dogger Bank from like the upper,
It could,
you know, so it just looks like a lighter
No,
bit of
here-
the ocean.
I
It's-
figured it
no,
out.
that'd be
This is definitely exactly what happened. Is that they're planning to add ice trolls later as a civilization, and when they do, you're going to be able to refreeze the northern part of the map, and that'll cause the sea level to lower.
totally.
That's why all that data is in the game. 100%. That's why. Yeah. So, Yeah, it's been 2 years of Imperator. Arheo showed some early development screenshots, um, including the fact that like they started out with these very like simple graphic icons, made them more and more complicated, and now they've gone back
Back to the
basically.
original, yeah.
It's the original simpler
Less-
icons.
Not everywhere. Like
Less is more.
Yeah.
Those icons on the bottom still exist. That's your character's skills. But yeah, they do have now plain simple icons for many things. Like port icons, city icons, holy sites.
See, I don't
stuff like that.
I don't really like these super detailed ones.
I like the middle.
I think I like the middle ones best, but I think I like the top ones more than I like
Top
the
one's the
bottom.
best. Get rid of ban all gradients. Ban gradients.
They're just classic and simple, and
Yeah.
they catch the eye.
Yeah.
See, no matter what
Without
kind of
distracting.
graphical style you've got, Liana is always going to hate the military one.
Well, yeah. I mean, that should change to a more culturally appropriate helmet if you're not playing as Roan. But yeah.
Leanna, we're having requests for you to increase Lambert and my volume.
Oh,
Apparently, we're quiet on your end on the stream.
Let me.
Should be fine if you're listening to the podcast after the fact somewhere else.
Let me turn you up in Discord here. Okay, that should be better. Let me know if I still need to do any tweaking. Yeah. We've got Fergia, the the legendary nation of Fergia.
Bithynia got a name change as well, and color changes. Phrygia ended up with what Thrace has there, and then Thrace turned into green. I'm kind of okay with a red. Well, now it'd be the Untaken Kingdom. That kind of does.
Yeah, because the Phrygian cap is like a reddish color usually. So yeah, I could see that.
And yeah, well, I mean their flag is yellow on red.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, the Nile Delta, what it looked like before they added the major rivers in.
I would say even right now, I do think Imperator is still the prettiest game. You could CK3 may be newer, but CK3 doesn't look as good, especially in the Nile Delta. That in that area in CK3 looks kind of shit. If I'm being honest, I really hate how it looks.
Especially,
it looks great in Imperator though.
Yeah, especially because this is such a tactically interesting place to fight in Imperator. And in CK3 you get like your little triangle and then that's it. Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all the wormy rivers that just
and I like it's like broken up into like 4 different islands, and yeah, it's very tactically interesting in Imperator to fight in the Nile Delta. This was probably one of the most hilarious bugs that I've ever heard. Paradox has had some good ones, but apparently if you sent a governor to the Olympics, it would like change the ownership of their land, is what I'm understanding.
It looks like, yeah.
Yeah, the Olympics event would target and send governors to the Olympics who, rather than travel alone, would transfer ownership of the capital state of their governorship to the country holding the Olympics.
Yep.
As it should be.
Which caused a bunch of fun border gore.
So basically what they're saying is, early on, the meta strategy was to own Olympia.
Yeah.
And the Olympic events cause other issues, because without it, they also discovered that babies born to mothers in country A would instantly arrive at the location of their father in country B.
Presumably by means of some Mediterranean child.
You know, I dig it.
Okay, now Lambert, look away. Look away.
It's fucking disgusting.
It's beautiful.
This is the future. This is the future Romans want.
Tell you what, right? Remember how we were like, oh yeah, the megacity's dead. The megacity's dead because the megacity sucks, right? I have seen hell, and it is disgusting.
I mean, I think the next image is worse.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No. I saw a megacity in the latest version of the game with 20,000 pops in it.
Wow,
that's a few.
Yeah.
Now the next
that into context. I finished my world conquest with 40,000. Half of the world in one city. I hate it. What is this, Warhammer 40k?
Yeah,
Jesus fuck.
obviously. They didn't say how this happened, but I'm glad that it does not
Doesn't
happen
anymore.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tibet stands strong, though. The worst thing about this map is the names are in the wrong areas. Like,
Yeah, there's
there's
just
the Saffarids in the area that is clearly Rome. This is not on. This Roman area with the Saffarids. No, not on.
Yeah, this is terrifying in every possible way. Yeah.
So Luke, it's just they've got a Roman disease right there.
Yeah, and the rest of this is just kind of a retrospective, as well as, a progression showing how Arheo went from, being mild-mannered guy with a convention badge to, an actual emperor. So
With
That
hair.
final
And
image.
he lost his hair along the way too.
yeah, well, I think
I mean,
that's
I see
probably a small price to pay for Imperator 2.0. That's
Well, like all good Roman emperors, it comes to thinning hair, right? I don't know enough about Roman empires to back up that statement, but I'm going to say with enough confidence.
Well, have you ever seen
I know
a
Caligula
marble
was bad
statue
thinning.
with hair?
Good point.
Exactly. It's made of marble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good on him for taking what was, pretty flawed game at launch, bringing it to what it is now. We've said on this show multiple times, if you have not played Imperator, especially if you haven't played it since before 1.2, definitely give it another shot.
If you played it on launch and then didn't like it, go back to it. It's all right. It's pretty good. I'm still not a huge fan of the era. That's still the sticking point for me. But
I love the era. I just think it needs to go further. I love the era. It just cuts off right in the middle of where it should, I think.
Yeah,
but,
I won't be happy until I can nail Jesus to a cross at that point.
Well then,
we've
so 0 out of 10 for me.
We've already Father Loris has already gotten our podcast excommunicated 11 times already. So
I know. Actually,
on one
wasn't
hand,
it a
I'm
good
like,
thing?
what are
He
you
was, 'cause
doing?
He died for our sins, so you know.
Yeah, on the one hand, I'm like, what are you doing? You're going to get us thrown off the air. On the other hand, I'm like, can I join you?
We're gonna have to start this podcast on some completely other format.
Also, I don't think they should add Christianity at all. Nope.
No,
I mean,
bad
mystery
idea.
cults, but you probably shouldn't be able to make it the state religion.
I mean, the historicity is fucking spotty at best.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong.
You're not going to be able to add it without pissing somebody off.
I like that time period, but I don't think Imperator is a game about the classical era, and I don't think the game should change just to suit my tastes. You know what I mean? A lot of people like the classical era a lot. I'm not one of those people, but it's a good game. So whatever,
I do think the mechanics will be perfect for a EU4 era mod. So if any enterprising modder wants to, just put a 1444 or 1356 mod in Imperator, I would play the shit out of that. So I would, yep.
The only problem is you need to add the rest of the world map to make the.
I mean, the Victoria Imperator people have already done that.
Oh wow!
So you just nab their map and just do all the rest of it.
Okay, well. Yeah, that seems like a tremendous amount of work, but if somebody's up to it. Yeah.
Well, we can discuss later why that might be highly popular with people right now.
Yeah. But before we do that, we have a small preview of some new events coming in the Azure patch for CK3. There's going to be some new childhood events, which seems kind of cool.
Yeah, children can go on play dates. Basically, you get feasts for kids.
Yeah.
It's great.
And which can even, lead to you murdering people, which of course
naturally no CK3 DLC would or update would ever be complete without the chance of murder.
I mean,
no, this is great. These little small things. This is what makes CK3 such a fantastic game in my book. Just little flavor of stuff. More the better. I love it. Keep adding stuff like this.
Yep. And this is going to be part of the free patch. There's also the ability to do the tournament with children.
Yeah.
Where your kid can go and try and beat up all the knights in your realm.
They've also reduced the age restriction on sway and murder slightly. So I'm assuming I don't know.
Maybe like 14.
That's what
13
I
or
was
14 would make
thinking.
more sense.
Yeah. It's like if you're 14 years old and you have like a really shitty regent, you should probably be able to kill them. Like, yeah.
Or you discover that your regent has been stealing from your bank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Does CK3 have an equivalent of the CK2 event where you could kill your regent as a child, like quote unquote by accident?
Not that I've ever come across yet.
There was one where you could like, you could see them standing by a balcony and like run at them like you're playing Joust, and it's like, oh, the kid doesn't know that they're gonna fall off and die, but you as the player absolutely know that this event exists so that you can kill your regent if you don't.
It's the Omen event, right? You know, basically you're on your tricycle and you're charging down on the tricycle.
Yeah.
Apparently if the kids are whatever the Wrath trait is for kids, I forgot what the name of it is. You can push your regent off the ledge.
Oh yeah, Rowdy.
Okay. Yeah, Rowdy. And according to Danny Buster.
Yeah.
I think
we can't trust Danny Buster.
there was a Bran Stark in the base game event, which is nice. Before before Game of Thrones became big, there was a Bran Stark reference to it, which I appreciate it.
Was that before it became big or just before it became shit?
It was before even CK2 came out before.
Oh yeah, no, of course.
The first season came out, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Right, but I didn't know if the event was there from the beginning or not.
10 years ago now or something. Good while ago.
Yeah, I think the first season might have been out.
No, I think CK2 came out before Game of Thrones. I'm pretty sure.
I'm looking it up right now.
I was in
the first season of the first season of Game of Thrones premiered the 2011, and CK2 came out in 2012.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
There was one season out already. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good show for 4 seasons.
Yeah. Good show for
Shame
one
they didn't make a 5th.
Yeah, okay, so
all these shows that get cancelled too early. Big fucking shake my head moments of history.
We're gonna get into our main topic sort of main topic. We do have a little bit of Hoi 4 installers to talk about as well. But we're gonna talk about EU4. As I told Chad at the top of the show before we actually started the podcast, but criticism of the game, the patch, the DLC is fine, but any, personal attacks against developers, stuff like that, we don't want it here, and moderators have been told to have a one strike policy on that. So
swing their ban hammers.
Yeah. So the 1.31 patch came out and it was pretty busted.
Yeah.
We had access to it. I'm gonna just pull up the thread for the patch notes for the patch that came out today, which I've been testing before we started the show.
I haven't had a chance to play the new patch.
There was. A lot of us had early access to it, and I was like, oh wow, I really hope that it doesn't launch in the state it's in now. And it did. North America was a mess. Polynesia was a mess.
The checksum was identical as well.
Yeah.
The build that we got. Well, I got it on the 19th. And apparently checksum didn't change for release, which is a bit weird.
Yeah, the Aboriginal Australians were not great. There were issues with the new Sikh and Zoroastrian mechanics. It seemed like everything that they had added basically had something slightly wrong with it. I know there's also federations didn't work right. There's
balance problems I found was the worst aspect of it.
A lot of balance problems. There's some areas where modifiers were typed in wrong, so it was giving you plus 10,000 or something when it should have given you plus 10. Monuments that are in the wrong province. Monuments that shouldn't actually even exist in this time period, which was especially weird because that's not a bug. That's just bad research, I guess.
Some monuments being tied to religions for no reason. Petra was tied to the Sunni not Muslim, but Sunni specifically,
Yeah.
religion, despite like the temple in Petra predating Islam by like 1400 years or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. Oh, what was the other one? So there was
having rulers that had like 10,000 admin skill.
Yeah, there were focus trees that were like missing descriptions or icons or both, or like one of the Polynesian focuses that was supposed to give you claims on other states, which is like the only way to actually conquer stuff in Polynesia currently is if you follow the focus tree step by step to the letter, because basically everything is considered out of coring range, which I think is something they definitely need to change. Yeah, like those claims would only last till like the end of the month or something like that. So it was like it was basically impossible as Polynesia until much later tech levels to really do anything. There was also
Heat falling apart disaster could only be stopped by having a DLC.
And then what some streamers like Spiffing Brit showed off with the like Steel development is just completely ridiculous. Like you can have 100 development in Beijing as the Ming, like before the end of 1444.
That wasn't even some of the like, as I was playing Qing quite a lot, and like
yeah, and that's not a bug. That was just like the bad balance, feature, basically. There have been patches for other Paradox games that have released in rough shape. I don't think there has been one that released in this rough of a shape since probably like Rajas of India for CK2, which had a bunch of performance issues, and then also like the entire map would just like the entire subcontinent would just like erupt into like Kali Ma cultist revolts within like 15 years. Yeah. It's that patch, the Rajas of India patch, and then this patch, the Majapahit patch, are the only two times I can remember in the entire time I've been playing Paradox Development Studio games where a patch came out and there was just so much wrong with it that I felt like I couldn't really have a good time.
Megacorp for Stellaris would come close.
I don't even remember.
The AI was brain dead.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
and they went on Christmas holiday.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh,
that was pretty. Cool. That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad because, like, Emperor. Yeah, there was a lot of weird bugs in Emperor when it came out. Especially like the HRE was super weird, and then there was like,
everyone kept going into debt.
AI, would like bankrupt themselves within 50 years unfailingly, but like it still felt like you could play it and have a good time. You know,
I quite enjoyed Emperor.
There's always bugs. I mean, if you look at this is the major DLC ratings for every EU4 DLC compared to 50%. So the Sabaton soundtrack is like the one that nobody had a problem with, which I thought was hilarious.
I don't rate Steam reviews for a number of reasons. Because Sabaton sucks for a start. You know. Right.
The throne. Yeah.
And B, like, you know, I think this is one of the worst rated games on Steam at the moment, right? I mean, like, and it's not the worst.
It's clearly
Leviathan specifically is the
right.
worst rated item on Steam, period.
Yeah.
There is not a single thing you can buy on Steam that is rated worse.
That's what I saw on Reddit anyway, so take that with a very large grain of salt.
It's clearly brigade, it's clearly like brigade. Review brigading. I don't even know if everybody has rated it has even played the DLC yet. It could be a lot of people who are just like bandwagoning on forum and Reddit.
For sure.
Well, you look at the tags associated with it too. So you got like nudity and hentai and stuff tagged onto it. So it's completely nonsense.
I did think early
tags, which is
I did think early access and psychological horror were funny. Those did make me giggle. And experimental. That's kind of
Yeah. But somebody who's like tagging it nudity and hentai out to basically try and reduce, you know, trying to.
Those seem to be gone now.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Okay. Psychological horror is still up there at the top. Early access is also gone from it too, though.
It was a rough launch. Like no mistaking.
No, it's
one of the roughest DLC launches that in Paradox history. This is from a now deleted post. I'm not sure why they deleted it. But Johan said on the forums, "We know Leviathan 1.31 did not live up to the expectations you and we had set for this release. We've been hard at work getting the 1.31.1 hotfix out to you as soon as possible. We feel confident that it will solve many of the most glaring issues. We've identified and corrected some issues in our production process based on learnings from this release and are taking concrete action both to fix the existing issues and to ensure future releases meet the quality you expect, which this is actually out now. It came out this morning with a fairly large list of changes, many of which sound like it has fixed some of the bigger issues. I haven't had a chance to test most of these. I did go in and start a new game as the Iroquois, or is they're called Mohawk. I keep forgetting how to pronounce their actual name. I don't think they should be called Mohawk in the game because that's kind of a weird, like, semi-offensive exonym for them. But
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's Kanian Kaheka or something like that. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but is what they actually call themselves. North America in 1.31.1 is a lot better than it was like as of yesterday. You don't have people randomly leaving federations anymore. You don't have everybody in the federation is stronger than the federation leader cohesion modifiers, even if you have 3 times as many troops as them. So they've fixed a lot of the stuff I specifically tried to test. They also made it so that the entire continent doesn't become devastated by like 1500. Yeah. I haven't tested to see if Polynesia's fixed. I haven't tested to see if a lot of this other stuff is fixed. But it's a pretty substantial patch.
They haven't fixed the major thing which I had a problem with it was but basically, the entire continent becomes colonized very, very quickly before the Europeans arrive, and I didn't really know how to manage it, which was my biggest fear with reworks of, at least in my playthrough.
I do recall you saying that.
Yeah. I mean, I have not seen that happen with other North American tags. If you are playing as a North American nation, it is fairly easy to just seize tribal land en masse from other tribes and fill it up with tribal development growth before the Europeans show up.
Yeah, but like at least in the playthrough I played,
it's
like basically the AI had claimed most of the coast by the time that the Europeans
did they actually
arrived, couldn't colonize.
Claim it, like color it in?
Color it in, yeah.
I haven't seen that happen. Interesting. Yeah.
Maybe I just an unlucky run.
Or it could be that there was like a bug that came into play in your save that didn't in mine. But yeah,
it was basically Newfoundland was basically the place.
Yeah,
and you could set up in Hudson Bay, but like most of it was pretty nabbed.
So yeah, North America, I would say I'm going to put a check mark next to it that it is now playable. I'll be interested to check out Polynesia and Australia next. It's a lot of fixes, and they also they're working on a 1.31.2 already. So
yeah,
I don't know what happened. I don't know if this was an issue with just handing over to a new studio, if this was an issue with QA was not spending their time on the right things, if it was an issue that they knew all of these were problems, but there was some like management thing where they wouldn't let them push the release back. I don't know.
Oh, clearly the issue was that Paradox fired every single QA that they have in the entire company and didn't replace them. Clearly,
because
like we
Reddit at least,
we can't know for sure 100%, obviously, right? We don't have like that level of insider knowledge, right? But like what we do know, and this is a myth that's been pumped around, is that Paradox doesn't have any QA, which is blatantly false.
No, I mean Johan even responded on Twitter that like EU4 by itself has 3 full-time QA testers currently, where that's their only job is QA, and that all of the other developers play at least 2 to 4 hours a week of just like, bug hunting runs and stuff like that. But like like North America and Polynesia especially were so broken that like it struck me that either they hadn't been tested or that like they knew that these issues were really bad and they were just hoping people wouldn't play those areas. Like that's how bad it was. Like I don't know.
We do have Einfield in chat saying that Tinto's QA is not handled the same way that PDS does. But
okay. Yeah.
I don't.
I mean,
yes, Tinto's handles it with sangria.
It's a new studio. It's a new studio. It's a mostly new team. Most of this patch was developed while everybody was trying to adapt to the pandemic. So like I can definitely see the extenuating factors that contributed to this. My biggest criticism is I just don't think it should have been allowed to be released in this state. If they needed an extra week or two, I mean, the fact that this patch that came out this morning fixed so many of the stuff, much of the stuff that I had a problem with. Like, okay, well, you could have pushed the release back a day and just released this as the DLC, and I don't think the reception would have been, nearly as negative. I don't want to, like, say that, oh yeah, the who's responsible for that? Was it management not letting them put it back? Was it the developers not saying they needed more time? We don't have any way of knowing that.
No, and it's probably not one thing.
Yeah,
either.
But that's the bottom line for me, is it should not have been allowed to release in this state it was. Whoever was responsible for that decision probably should rethink next time, if maybe they need to give it a little more time.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you recall a time when Paradox has delayed a release?
Yeah.
Because I don't. I can't think of one.
I think they've delayed stuff in the past.
I mean, the amount of fixes in this patch clearly shows.
Well, they delayed
that wasn't done overnight.
They delayed Hearts of Iron 4 for like almost a year. So yeah, they definitely have. Right. They definitely have delayed stuff in the past.
Okay. Hearts of Iron, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna say I get a shit memory, so I mean, deal with it.
You're not a player, so
that goes to show, delaying things is fine because you don't even remember when they're delayed in the end.
Got filling up with like, oh yeah, we did it for Necroids, and we do one for Nemesis. Oh, that's literally fucking I just got a bad memory.
No. I think that just goes to show that delays aren't bad.
Yeah.
Fair. No. I'm not saying delays are bad. I'm saying they're
no. I mean, I'm not saying you're not saying that. Yeah. I'll just say as an example of why one of many reasons why delays are good.
I think
they have done delays.
Yeah.
But they usually do delays before they've announced it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. That I just reworded my question. After a release date has been announced, has there been a delay?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like is it worth all the bad PR that you're getting out of this, that like you might miss a quarterly deadline or something? That's something that is probably a discussion that happens way above.
It's also, in lots of game studios, and I'm sure Paradox is probably not unique to this, there's probably a certain anxiety for marketing teams who have got set out marketing goals and marketing beats, as you call it, use corporate speak. Hit marketing beats, get the right momentum going for a launch. But if you're launching onto something,
I think
the
that's
more momentum you have, if it falls flat, that hurts more.
Exactly. That's a dangerous. I think that's a dangerous corporate culture to develop, and I think that you should develop the kind of corporate culture where it's okay to delay things. I mean, Blizzard during what I would consider their heyday, it was like a meme that like everything releases on Blizzard time, because if they need more time, they're going to take more time. I think that's a better way, from my perspective, of doing game development, personally. Don't go harass developers about this. Don't like speculate about whose fault it is. Don't like go making up stories in your head about like moral judgments on like individual people at the company. That's just toxicity. It's not going to make anything better for anyone. The next dev diary we're going to talk about, actually, interestingly enough, has a little bit of a postscript about that.
Don't
Yeah.
spread lies too. The amount of times I've seen people saying Paradox does not have QA.
Yeah.
It's just not true.
Yeah.
So silly.
Yeah, this was a mess. Nobody's saying it wasn't a mess.
I mean,
Nobody's saying that we shouldn't expect better from them.
No, absolutely not. Like that's the other thing, right? I mean, there's no two ways about
They
it.
can do better than this.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So
this was a bit of a shambles.
Yeah. There's actually a little postscript on this HOI4 Dev Diary that I think is very appropriate to this discussion. But before we get to that, let's talk about tanks a little bit. Let's go to a little bit of a lighter subject, World War II.
Also, a lighter subject, several ton war machines. Very heavy.
So they're adding a tank designer to Hearts of Iron 4, which kicked off rigorous tank debates in several of the communities I'm in.
It's the worst type of nerd is a tank nerd. You know,
I have some very good friends who are tank nerds. I'll have you know. So it's kind of going to work sort of similar to the ship designer, except, thank the gods they're not adding another huge tech tree to it. Most of these are just going to be tied to existing techs. In terms of like the turrets are like unlocked by like artillery or AT gun tech or whatever.
I love that right there. I want that as a big poster. I don't even like Hearts of Iron, but like I want that full sized on my wall. That is amazing.
Yeah, no, I like this a lot.
But preferably for a British tank. having a Pan's them, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just sent the wrong message to get. That scene from Father Ted, you walk into your house and
so you're a Nazi father.
Someone apparently made a mod with 700 plus unique tanks.
Wow.
Oh damn.
Yeah, so
I like oh god, sorry.
Well, I was gonna say, so you can still increase like the engine and armor like you used to, but then everything else is gonna be handled by putting modules on it, like you do kind of with the current ship designer. Yep. Radios, different kinds of turrets, different armor, which won't only affect the stats. Like riveted armor, they say is the weakest type, but it's also the cheapest to build. Like if you're playing as a country that doesn't have a lot of steel, to kind of model the fact that like welded or
spit out a lot of T-42.
Yeah, exactly. Weld and cast armor are more labor and resource intensive to produce. They've got different.
Apparently, HOI QA has already made a tank that can go backwards.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Only go backwards.
We'll get to that. It's in the dev diary.
I missed that part, or it just went right past my head.
Yeah, there's different suspensions available. Some of them are faster, some of them are reliable. Yeah, the turrets are going to be unlocked by, I think that's a little bit further down, by different tech. Like, where did they show that?
There wasn't seeing that.
There was a chart.
Spoiler. A few list is included in the spoiler tag above the tech image.
Above the tech image. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, there's not going to be like 40 new different techs for different types of tank guns. It's just like, when you research Artillery 3, you get the heavy howitzer module unlocked.
I'm glad because there's already enough tech in HOI4 to research.
Yeah, there's kind of too many techs at this point.
Well, if they add more techs, they're gonna have to like increase the base speed so you can get techs when you need them.
Well, I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons that the Germans lost the war is because they didn't focus their tech or their resources in one specific area. Hitler was like, "Oh, we'll do a little bit of this, and we'll do a little bit of this, and we'll do a little bit of this." And it just did nothing well. So having too many techs to kind of simulate that, if you spread out, you don't do anything well. I mean, that's I think that's kind of good design.
No, I think we're at that point now, though, and that's fine, right? Like,
yeah.
If you really want to focus on your navy and your air force, your land army is going to be a bit shit.
Yeah.
Yes. What I meant is that if you focus on tanks, and you might not get any other research done at all, and only tanks, you can't even get your infantry improved.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
you normally get like 2, I find.
I almost feel like I don't know. They've kind of they've sort of done this with the fact that you can rush doctrines using experience like army, like land, air, and naval experience. But I sort of feel like maybe they should go further and say that just doctrines are a separate thing from technology, like that they shouldn't take up a research slot. But that would probably require a lot of retooling. Your icons are going to dynamically change based on how you model the tank. I'm sure there won't be new 3D models for every possible variation, as cool as that I would be. So. But,
because they'll be different for different cultures too.
Right.
It would be a nightmare, yeah. Stick with generics.
This is really cool. I find the ship designer to be kind of tedious because I still don't quite understand how navies work in Hearts of Iron 4.
This is one of the best things I enjoy about this. I do like the ship designer, and I like how this is standardized between the ship designer and the tank. So they haven't gone with something completely new.
Right.
You know, if you're coming in to learn the game now, you go, oh, this is just the vehicle designer.
But yeah, like I don't spend a lot of time with the ship designer because I find it kind of fiddly and navies to be kind of obtuse, but I will definitely use this a lot.
Yeah.
Here's some of the tanks that the QA testers made. This one's called the Bunker. It's just a stationary. It doesn't move, but it has 332 armor. Hell yeah.
Oh my god. Slap that on the Maginot line. No
problem. Before they nerfed secondary turrets, you could just put like 4 mini turrets, and it has a soft attack of 126 on this thing. Yeah. And then this is negative 47.5 reliability, so this is basically a Tiger 2. And then this is the heavy amphibious tank that can only move backwards. Max speed negative 0.5 kilometers.
It really helps on the retreat.
Yeah. That's
still pretty slow.
Yeah. But then the other thing that this was Podcar, or no, it's Archangel 85. Tagged on, I think this is very relevant to what happened with EU4 this week, but he said, before closing, I'd like to note a few things on the subject of giving feedback. When I first started at Paradox, the direct line between community and developers was a major plus. Because I like the idea of talking to the community without having to run every post past 3 marketing departments first. However, this kind of direct community access comes at a heavy cost for us. As many of you have noticed, we've gotten a little sparse in these forums in the last few months or even years. The reason for this is often that we do face a debate culture that is not enjoyable to take part in, where it is taken as a given that the devs are either lazy or incompetent, and where everything we do is viewed through that lens. I saw this all over Reddit like the last couple days, and it's kind of absurd. Like, it is kind of absurd.
Toxic.
Yeah, none of us wake up in the morning and go into work to do a bad job. And it's like, he also says we're not looking for fawning adoration or a form in which our decisions can't be discussed with a critical eye. But
you take your adoration and you enjoy it.
I mean, like, keep your criticisms focused on the game, on what you'd like to see changed. I think most of the time when we say we'd like to see something changed, usually that'll end up happening sooner or later. But yeah,
the way I see it, it's just good social skills. It's not even about, like, just be polite. I mean, like, you can disagree with stuff. Adults disagree, and you disagree with stuff, and just be nice about it. You know?
I mean, like, there are people on Reddit who seem to think Johan is like a Bond villain or something. That he's just like sitting on a chair made of, like, dead children swirling sangria and thinking about how he can make the game worse. Like, come on.
He's not
like, all.
He's clearly the only reason we haven't got Victoria 3 yet.
Nobody who goes into game development, like, wants to just, like, make bad games just to, like, cash in. I mean, I think there might be some executives high up at, certain
but not the developers.
Major corporations who don't actually have anything to do with the actual making of the games, who don't actually care if the games are good as long as they're making money. But no, I don't think people who go into game development feel that way. I don't think they're doing it for the paycheck.
Like, if you're a programmer, you're not making money in game development, right? Like, I don't know many programmers until I like started doing webcomics, and then I started meeting more programmers, and they get paid a lot more money if you go work for Amazon or something, you know.
Right. Yeah,
Not game
so-
development companies. You take a
right.
big cut to your pay.
So yeah, I've been highly critical of this the 1.31 patch for EU4. I've been highly critical of some stuff they've done in the past, but keep it focused on the game. Don't make up conspiracy theories about people. Like I know that your brain wants to do that. I know your brain wants to narrativize and simplify everything into some sort of like, this story has a good guy and a bad guy is super bad, and good guys must win against bad guy. Like our brains do
make brain
that.
feel good to point blame at somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're wired to do that, but you have to fight that impulse because it's not helping anyone. It's not helping the game. It's not helping you.
It's
yeah.
it's a childish impulse too. Like, I mean, most people should grow out that as they grow up, right? I mean, like,
yeah. So
I would like to think that.
You know, but talk about growing up.
Uh-huh.
They're talking in Stellaris about how to make your pops grow up a lot faster.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
So well, once again, and on a lighter note,
equating toxic commenters with Stellaris pops. Why not?
Hey,
Well,
if toxic commenters,
if you're not good, you're going on this planet and getting glassed.
if toxic gamers on social media were a separate species category in Stellaris, I'd probably send them to undesirables. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah. So speaking of developers noticing things when we bring them up in a civil manner and changing them, yeah, there's going to be some tweaks to operations and espionage coming up for Stellaris. And they're also going to be tweaking pop growth to deal with some of the ideas that have been pointed out. Like, I know a big one is the fact that, like, if you have a large empire already, the new modifier to slow down pop growth in large empires makes it almost impossible to, like, fill up an ecumenopolis by the time you can actually get one. Later in the game.
Worse for Ring Worlds.
Yeah, and Ring Worlds, same thing. So, overall, I like the reduction in pops because I don't see late game slowdown like I used to. So I kind of hope they find a way to, keep everybody happy in that regard.
Well, I think if it was maybe more of a planetary base.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if your planet has no houses left, or one house, the people aren't going to be too eager about making babies. But if your planet has, 50 empty housing slots, then people want to be there. And then you would also fill up your Ecumopolis or your Ring World faster because let's say you have 50 extra slots, people want to immigrate there as well as, make babies.
Yeah, or maybe even add an extra...
That's a balance issue, though, because then the way to go would be to instantly build out all of your district slots just to have the largest amount of possible pop space.
Oh, I hadn't thought about instantly.
That. Like I said, there's a lot, it is a balancing act. Like, it's not just, we need to balance it so we get more pops. It's like, we need to balance it so we get more pops, but in a better way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they're doing a beta.
I think.
Hey, guess what?
They're doing a beta, so
EU4,
you have opinions on this.
Yeah, EU4 1.31 probably could have benefited from a public beta. Probably all of these patches could benefit from a public beta, even if it's just a week or two. Yeah.
I think I was overall pretty happy with Nemesis. I was reading through some of the feedback. And some of the more hardcore Stellaris players were not happy with pop changes, but
I really like Nemesis.
I never got up to them pop levels anyway, so I
thought Nemesis was a great patch. Yeah.
It's a bit of a blind spot for me in knowledge of the community because I don't really go in for min-max type hardcore game things, and I don't really
Stellaris.
Especially for Stellaris. But apparently a lot of those people were not happy, and I think this is to try and alleviate some of those problems.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. People play games differently.
Yeah,
But sometime this week we'll be getting an open beta for Stellaris that you can opt into by the whole going into properties, betas tab, blah blah blah. Which is,
And this is
nice.
not the first time they've done open betas. They do this quite often with Stellaris.
Right.
They did
right.
one for
CK3.
1.2 in Imperator as well.
Yeah, they said there's been a lot of positive feedback regarding new automatic resettlement. I didn't realize this, I think, until DJ brought it up on the last podcast. But yeah, this is actually a huge buff to democracies. That automatic resettlement bonus that they get. Man, like it lets you jumpstart colonies so quickly. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, I love it.
You don't have to do anything. Like I could just set up a brand new colony world with nothing on it and just build like 8 agricultural districts, and then it'll just fill up like, without me touching anything. It's great. Democracies, it's actually the first time that I feel like democracies are competitive with the other government types in Stellaris. Because I would.
Balance is pretty good.
Yeah, I roleplay as democracies before, but I never felt like I was getting anything like particularly useful out of playing a democracy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the shorter election times you can farm unity, but yeah.
I think the reason that democracies are so difficult to roleplay in any game really is because you might be role-playing as a democracy, but you are the only one in control of your country throughout the entire time that you are playing the game. So you're effectively an absolute monarchy led by someone who is immortal, no matter whether your country is actually a democracy or an empire or anything in between.
Yeah, although I have had some issues where I one of the Necroid Empires I played, where I put all of the like capacity boosters on and everything, I had like a 200-something-year-old level 10 dictator who was like died and replaced by a level 1, and that jump down from 10 to 1 like wrecked my empire temporarily. Yeah, so
in my current game I'm led by an immortal chosen one queen, and then my wife bought the with channel points name someone after me, so my empire is being led by my immortal wife, which is kind of cool.
You make your wife buy shit with channel points?
I didn't make her do anything. She just jumped in and pressed the button.
Well, if she's your wife, she should just be able to come in and be like, "You gotta name that character after me," because I said so. Rose,
as for this game being popular, there's 26,668 people playing it right now.
Stellaris is in a really good spot. I'm having a lot of fun with Stellaris lately.
Compare EU4 at the moment is 21,804.
That's still quite a bit.
But it's surprising to me it's less than Stellaris. Stellaris is very good. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Stellaris has the appeal of being sci-fi, which I would imagine has more fans than historical games.
It's also a 4X, not just a grand strategy. Oh, and the rosebud.
That for me, that doesn't make it better.
Rose might be dealing with Rosebud. So Lambert, what have you been up to lately?
I have been playing a lot of Imperator because, in my opinion, it's the best Paradox game. Don't at me, or do, and I'll tell you why. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Imperator. I've been playing a lot of Humankind, and been playing a lot of D&D as well, which is really cool, and I enjoy it a lot.
Nice, yeah. Loris, what have you been up to lately?
I've been super productive, actually.
Yeah.
Pubs have reopened, so I've actually got a social life, and I'm happy again. It's very good. It's nice to have joy in your life again.
You can hear the spring in his step. The pubs.
It really is.
The pubs in Wales are reopening.
I got social. I could talk to people outside my house finally, and be engaged in my local community. Can you imagine? Imagine all that. So no, but positive side, I'm chirpier and more productive, and be drawing, and it's been great. I was thinking of actually, this is how happy a mood is. I was thinking of like doing drawing streams. I was going to float by that people. people, maybe.
I would watch drawing streams. Yeah.
Yeah. So I might do that.
That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Who knows? We'll see how high this high gets me for the next week.
I love how opening pubs makes you more productive. Most people would make them less productive.
Oh man, I'm
Welsh
like
are an anomaly.
I am a social animal.
Yeah.
I am drawing again, Kiko, and I will get that commission done very quickly now. Don't you worry.
You say you're a social animal. What kind of animal?
Sheep.
A stairless animal.
Rose, what have you been up to lately?
Like Lambert, I've been playing a lot of Humankind.
Yeah.
What is your final fame score? What's your highest one so far?
I don't remember. I'd have to check my stream from last Thursday. That was definitely the highest. I've only done it twice. And yesterday I decided to play on Humankind difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty.
Ooh, I have not tried that.
And I survived.
Nice.
So here's my question: does the highest difficulty in Humankind, is it just like Civ where the AI gets a bunch of free resources, or did they find a more?
I think so. They also play smarter.
They also get like a +1 combat bonus on Empire difficulty, I realized.
Okay.
Which you can get around just by being smarter with terrain, because unlike Civ, terrain is actually important. I know terrain probably makes a difference in Civ, but let's be fair, it makes more of a difference.
It definitely makes more of a difference in Humankind, for sure. Did either of you have like a new favorite culture that you got to check out so far?
Egyptians in the ancient era is fucking delightful. I love them. You just get so much production. In my first campaign, in my first run, I went with the Babylonians first, and I ended the game in second place with 4,000 points because the AI, I feel, kind of cheated. Just they had single cities with like 80 pops each, which is crazy. But in the second game, I went with the Egyptians that had the production bonuses, and I got first place, which was lovely.
So you really like how productive the Egyptians are?
Yeah, the Egyptians are really cool.
Do you know why they weren't so productive, though? Slavery.
Pyramids.
Slavery. Okay, Rose, what was your favorite culture?
You know what? As long as they work, I don't give a fuck. Chains or coin, it doesn't matter.
Slavery is good. That's Lord Lambert.
I'll pay you in chains or I'll pay you in coin.
Yeah.
I mean, so far, I do like the Babylonians with the science. I haven't gone with someone high production.
It's delightful.
But also, I haven't gotten past the medieval era yet, because the first time I was just sort of like playing around, and then the second time it was way too difficult. But I'm going to try and play again tomorrow and just get to the early modern era and even the industrial and just really explore.
I'm definitely going to try to get some time in this weekend too. What were you going to say, Loris?
I legit have not picked a culture that has not been based on a purely aesthetic choice on the sort of terrain that I'm around.
Well, that's the thing. Is like I want to see how Vikings are right now. So
they're very pretty.
Yeah. I'll just get to Vikings and then I'll just do the whatever ascension mechanic for the rest of the game until I get to Sweden. In the early waters. We're gonna go straight from seafaring raiders into social democracy. That's the trajectory. Yeah. Nothing in between.
The pirate to prosperity pipeline.
Hell yeah. Do you have a favorite culture out of the ones that are playable right now, Loris? Aesthetically or otherwise?
I think it's for Joe. Chinese one.
I've not tried that yet.
Nice.
Very nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Pretty powerful too.
All right.
Yeah.
What have you been up to, Leanna?
Oh yeah, Leanna.
Oh yeah. So I obviously played quite a bit of EU4 until I ran into bugs that made it so I couldn't really continue.
Very little.
Well, so the one run I did that had relatively few bugs that I actually had a lot of fun with was Pagaroyong, which is the one Buddhist kingdom on Sumatra. In 1444, I did a run where I was going to form Malaya. Then I it happens sometimes. I ended a war with 160% overextension, and everybody joined a coalition against me. It happens.
Yeah, that's
but
a bug. Terrible bug.
The first two games I started.
Consequences for my actions.
Yeah,
this is a bug.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a bug. No, the two first runs I did were as Tonga and as the Comanche, and both of those I had to basically stop because the bugs were just it made it basically unplayable. So I'm hoping to go back and try both of those runs again. I might try it this patch, or I might wait. If they're working on 1.3.1.2, I might wait till that's out if it's going to be out fairly soon.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to wait a couple of weeks.
I actually went back to Civ 6 a little bit because they released the last patch for the New Frontiers season, they're calling it. Just to see what state that is at in comparison to Humankind. It's civilization. I think there's certain sacred cows that they.
There's a game called Civilization where you make your own little nation.
Yeah.
It's still Civ. Civ 4, Civ 5, Civ 6.
Yeah. No,
Civ 4 is good. So
Hey, Civ 4, the only bad thing about, or there's two bad things I have with Civ 4. The fact it's the grid system, not a hex system,
right?
And it still uses doom stacks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those
Beyond Earth is still the best Civ game. Don't at me.
Okay, well, Lambert's off the show once again.
It doesn't have the issue I was talking about before, where you've got fucking Abraham Lincoln talking to Caesar about nukes.
I was not a huge fan of Beyond Earth. I thought it was a mediocre Civ 5 mod.
I think
it may have been that, but it completely removed the thing I hate it for.
I legit liked it more than I liked Civ 5, which is probably more of it was more of the fact I didn't like Civ 5 at all.
Yeah.
So like more
I'm not
more
saying
than
I
didn't
Beyond Earth. It was just the best one.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think Beyond Earth was mediocre at best, but I think it was still better than Civ 5. But it was a lot more fun multiplayer when you're sort of competing against you. But military gameplay was a lot more fun.
Also playing a lot of Stellaris multiplayer lately. So lots of fun stuff, fun times. Having to send foreign aid to the horrible slaving necroids because my friend who was playing them was not familiar with the new pop system. So my democratic righteous crusader people are having to send foreign aid to this horrible oppressive regime.
There's probably parallels there or something.
Yeah, it
social
happens.
Commentary or something.
Yeah, that never happens in the real world. Foreign aid is sent to people that have been demonstrated repeatedly be perpetrators of severe human rights abuses. But on that note,
it's time to wrap up.
We're NoCB
Saudi Arabia and the Vatican.
All right.
We're
this before we make any enemies, please.
NoCB Cast on Twitter,
more enemies.
Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Twitch, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Subscribe to the show. Leave some stars on whatever app you use if you want. Leave us a review. That helps other people find the show, which is obviously cool. Stay tuned for more PDXCon announcements related to what we're going to be doing at PDXCon. I have a meeting about that tomorrow morning. And we'll hopefully have some more details by next week. So we'll see you then.
Toodles.
Bye.
Bye-bye.